Well, I'll tell you what, it's the last week in February. As you can see, it's cold. It's still only a few degrees overnight, and in between bouts of rain, I desperately want to do stuff. And I know I hear yourself asking, Zav, what can we do right now if we're in the UK sort of climate, zone 9B? Well, actually, with one of these, you can have fun doing a full leaf defoliation of this glorious evergreen Elaeagnus silverberry. Do you know, I love this tree. But is it safe? Well, guess what? I'm going to answer that question because I've spent a year, last year, doing exactly what I'm telling you to do right now. And to find out what the results are like, well, keep watching. You know me. You'll get the answers, whether I like them or not. Hi, yeah, it's Xavier, and welcome to my chilly bonsai retreat. And as you've guessed, we're going to be dealing with the Elaeagnus, a broadleaf evergreen, which I absolutely adore. I really think it's an underused bonsai. Through different parts of the year, you get this glorious silvery burnished gold colour leaf. You know, you get nice small leaves most of the year, if you do what I'm about to do now. But first of all, let's just admire this. This has developed over many years from what was, again, a pretty ordinary garden shrub, which I picked up back in 2015. And I did some brutal cutting. I did some wiring on it. And there's certainly a number of videos in this. If you have a look at the description, you'll get the playlist for this. I'm going to devote it to its own playlist because, do you know what? I love the silverberry. And I think you should too. It got repotted a few years ago. Quite happy. I mean, obviously what we do need to do is have a look underneath. Have a look and see in the holes at the bottom. Make sure you haven't got grubs or anything like that. It's always good to just do that basic looking. And oh my gosh. And that one could have been very dangerous to me because right there we have a wasp. I'm going to investigate it to live very carefully, but if I put my digit near there, I'd have had a little sting. Well, thankfully the wasp was no longer of this world. It was certainly not nailed to the perch, but has been disposed of in my own little way. And underneath is nice and clear. We haven't got grubs in there. Happy with that. No great sign of roots trying to push their way out. And in terms of looking at the surface of this, it's looking pretty good. It doesn't look like the tree is trying to push itself out of the pot. So they are a relatively slow grower, so I don't even need to think about repotting it. I mean, I actually love the pot. This is a Dawn Isaac ceramic. You know that she's my go-to potty potter, and she's doing pottery classes and all sorts. So if you look at Di Ceramics, she's got Facebook, and I'm sure she's got lots of other sites, but she's excellent, really, really good ceramicist. Anyway, that's not getting this done. We'll have a look at the base, and as you know, we'll just get rid of anything that's potentially going to cause problems. This has got such a broad base. I really, sometimes you have trees and you think this is never going to make a bonsai. And I mean, I'm not going to pretend I had any great skills with what I did with this. But the base on this is so thick. And yeah, it's got this great big bulge here. Nothing I can do about it. I'm going to concentrate on the rest of this and slowly build the ramification. Tell you what, let's go back to this time in 2025 and follow the progress over the year in 2025. And then we'll come back and brutalize it. I think that's a great idea. You get rid of all of these beautiful green leaves, do a full defoliation. What that will tell this tree to do is out with the old, in with the new. And sometime, in a few months' time, we're going to start seeing some lovely, smaller Elaeagnus leaves. It's come a long way, but it's got further to go. So let's get some of these leaves off, shall we? Now, clearly, there's two very, very big advantages with doing this now. First of all, we can finally see how the structure's developing on this. And suddenly, with all that leaf gone, this looks 100% more impressive. It would look fantastic if it was deciduous and dropped all its leaves. But it means I'm going to be able to go in there and do some pruning. I will say that as I was pulling those leaves off, there were lots of spiders just starting to get their cobwebs and their egg bundles, and there was some other sort of leafy mold there. Quite regular, it's quite a common thing with the Elaeagnus. But I mean, when you look at that structure, what's not to like about it? And the pruning is going to be the same for anything now. We've already got our primary branches in place. We've started getting our secondary structure coming out. I just need to bring that back into profile and have a little look and see. Really, I don't want anything going up here. We've got one that's going to come out from here and here. Initially, I can shorten off to there. But truly, if that is the base, and this is, I think, something we need to remember, all of us, when we're pruning, that's the outlier. The branch is not going to come out. So the lowest branch here and here sets the structure for just shortening of all the others. So this one has got to come all the way back really to here. Same with that, it's got to come back to here. We start bringing it in, which then helps me to find here. I'm going to take off, I don't want that one coming up. And as I say, with an evergreen, this is the time you can do this sort of work. So I'm just going to go around and follow the same principle, bearing in mind I've set my lines here. Here, this is coming out far too long. Back here, there's a bud, so I'm going to cut back to there. Same here, we've got this coming out here. Cut it right back. Now, I don't know about you, but I look at that and I'm like, loving it. I'm in love with it again. And when I remember back to the days, the first video of this, when I first did some wiring and moved some branch placements, the wire, well, actually I can see where the wiring scar were, and because of the colour of the bark, it's healed in beautifully, and it's going to be brilliant. I really, really feel optimistic and happy about how this is going to develop long term. So what we'll do is we'll skip on ahead probably another 8-9 weeks, and I'll let you enjoy it when it's in half-size leaves with a lovely coppery burnished look. Well, I thought I'd bring us back a little bit early. It's the 22nd of April, and now we can really start seeing the buds, leaf buds opening up on this this incredible tree. Do you know, the more I work with it, the more I love it. May not be everyone's cup, but for me, this evergreen just keeps on giving. It's this stage now. We've got the lovely tiny leaves. It looks fantastic, and it'll look this good for another sort of 6 to 8 weeks, definitely. And this is what's going to allow me to develop that much tighter, believable ramification. And the leaves, you can see the silver spots and why they've got that sort of silvery look about them. Absolutely incredible. Anyway, stop hearing me dribble on. Let's have a look at this in another 4 or 5 weeks' time, shall we? And I might actually have to do some pruning decisions. Well, it's now the 5th of May, and this is probably the optimum time for this species. I love the leaf size. It's about half the size that it's going to be in another few weeks' time. And that lovely, incredible burnished, coppery look to it. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love this tree. Well, here we are back, 25th, 26th of June. Just had the summer solstice, and look at that. This is what all that hard work's all about. The leaves, half the size they would be. They're going to stay like this right through the year now. And I'm thinking this is looking pretty good. Yes, it could be a bit clunky in some of its shape, but you know what? It was just a nursery plant a few years ago, and now, well, I'm really, really happy about it. So all that's really left to do now is give it a good balanced fertilizing. And as I say, this is I use a liquid one because I can control exactly what I want from it. And then I'm going to continue to leave this in a nice prominent place on one of the benches, because now this is actually starting to become what I consider a pretty good Elaeagnus bonsai. I love it. And suddenly it's the 17th of October, and you're all looking at me going, Zav, I don't think you actually did anything during all that. Well, you're wrong. With this evergreen, particularly the Elaeagnus, all the work happens in late winter. That's the opportunity to take all the leaves off. That's the opportunity to start cutting back sort of major structures. Right now, as for many of our evergreens, we're well, we're quite content to leave them. The leaf structure themselves have got that waxy film. They're ready for the winter, but they're still doing an important job. They're still bringing in that light, and they're adding to growth, branch thickening, root development. So why on earth would I want to do any work right now? Yes, I could look at this here. I've got some extensions that have gone 2, 3, 4, 5 leaves. I could, if I wanted to, just cut back to profile and just keep 2 or 3 leaves. But you know what? It's not going to do any harm if I just leave them. In fact, it's probably going to do more good. I'm not showing it. I don't need to do anything else with that. So I'm not worried particularly about those extensions. It's something I will note for something I'll have to do in spring, late winter. Though I will have a look around, and I think we talked about right here, way back in June, that I was thinking of cutting that off. And the reason why I didn't was I was waiting to see, if we have a look underneath, right here there's a little growth. That is going to be the future that I want for that tree, which is going to allow me, I think, right now to do that. And then we have a look further around. I mean, clearly we've got this great big wound here. If I was honest, I really should have hit that in June time and opened that up a little bit more to get a much more equitable rollover. So yeah, that's going to go down in my bonsai database as something I need to do, and it'll give me a reminder next May. Actually, it's probably worth looking. Look at that lovely spotted structure. Look at those lovely spotted leaves you've got at the front there. Then you turn them over and there's almost this burnished gold look about them. Love the silverberry, such incredible colours, and in fact we've even in this case got a bit of variegation going on, so it's obviously a crossbreed, so to speak, but lovely. If we've got any sort of areas where there's 2s or 3s coming, we can indeed cut those back, and I often will take the thorns off as well. So we can still do some very light pruning, but for me, I'm definitely not interested in any particular work right now this time of the year. Here I've got something that's going up, definitely don't want that. And there is some things I might actually do. If you look, this is going to be the front of the tree, and we've got this branch that's continued to grow across the front. I'm not looking to get any development from it, so I have no problem at all going in there and having a look and moving that, taking that stub back. You know, we could have a look here. We've got the main branch coming out. I could wire it, but actually underneath it, right here, got a nice little leaf pair, and I think if back in spring next year I cut back to here, that will cause that bud to come out and we'll get the growth I want. But there's nothing stopping me now, just for profile's sake, just taking this top off just a little bit, just bringing the pad in. Because the other thing we do still want to be able to do is ensure that it's not getting too choked up and that light doesn't get in there. So what we don't want to do is end up losing a lot of stuff on the insides. So yeah, so again, stubs up there, just get rid of some of those, neaten it up. And I think really what comes clear, this is the thing with the evergreen, is that it's got such a lot of leaf on there already that it's much easier to do it when I can take them all off. So for me, it's probably all I'll do right now. Give it a feed and then leave it till next February. So as you can see, it all worked out fine, and I've taken this approach now 3 times over the last 3 years. It has not weakened the tree, it has not had any detrimental effect. In fact, all it's done is improve the opportunities for ramification. So you've seen it done once. I'll remind you of one thing when it comes to the leaves, and then we'll revisit this when it's got no leaves on it. And I suppose that is Bonsai Basics 1.01. How do I safely remove a leaf in a full or partial leaf defoliation? Well, let's find ourselves a nice little leaf that you can see. What about this one here? We turn it over, we follow the little stem, or I don't know whether it's the petiole, and you take the scissors up to the base of the leaf and cut. What you'll be left with is the little stub there, and you literally just go around and do all that. And what will happen is that little stub will dry off over a few weeks and then just fall away. But it's also a way of protecting, because if you try to pull, you're protecting where the next bud's going to come from, which is actually, as we all know, Bonsai Basics 1.02, in the crotch there. And you don't want to be hurting that bud, so leaving that little bit of petiole or whatever on is ideal. Let that fall away naturally, and our new growth will come from there. So all that's left for me now to do is, for the second time in this video, is to go around and remove all of the leaves. And with a final flourish, 196, 197. That will do for now. You notice I've left a few small leaves on, no particular reason, but I just find those little small leaves gives it a touch of green. And as you would have seen earlier, with all those leaves now removed, my fingers are as blue as the board, by the way. It's absolutely freezing. I've been out here 25 minutes. We can now see the structure, and you can see from the top that I want to pull this right in again. I'm trying to get the ramification in closer to the branches and then let it grow tighter. It takes time. This is true clip and grow. I said to you in many earlier videos on this tree that did some initial wiring, but my intention is not to do any further wiring. So when you look at these branches here, you can tell that I've got an ideal opportunity to actually bring that growth right back if I want. And just to make that nice and clear, we look here, we've got one bud came from here and here, we've got this growth here, that's what we'll get rid of. Bring it right back to here. There we've got just the one bud, so we'll leave it. I don't really want growth climbing upwards, so I'm actually looking at this one here. We've got a bud that would come from here and here, so let's bring it right back. Same here, got this straight one here, got a bud that'll come from here and another one that could come from here. I actually want to bring it right back there to clear the area. And if you looked even at this one properly, there's an argument for saying we've got this here, I could actually cut that all the way back there. But in this instance, I'm going to keep going as I've done there. Take that upward one off. And stubs, this one here is an upward one, which I don't want at all. So I'll get rid of those. And I'll put a little bit of cut paste on there. So we've got everything going horizontally. And I'll go right round, and wherever we've got big upward shoots like this, I'll look to go back to the nearest bud I can. There's potentially a bud from right in close here. There's one back here. But I'm just going to play safe and just take that top half off. And a bud here and a bud behind it. And just see what comes. And I'm going to go around now and do exactly the same right around this tree. Do you know what, talking of bird's eye, many of you have talked about the sound of birds I have in the garden. And if you watch my last video, you probably caught a glimpse of my sort of robin redbreast, which always accompanies me when it's repot. And hopefully right now you're seeing him in full colour and potentially full voice, because he's a noisy little bleater. And there's normally about 100 of them all round me when I'm repotting. And they all take the moss off. By the way, thanks ever so much for that really handy tip that I got about using all the fluff from your washing machine and stuff like that. If I had enough bags, I'd probably follow it. But for those of you who've got less trees, this may be great advice for you. So thanks very much for that tip. Which brings me on to the next question. We've got a lot of broadleaf evergreens. I mean, I don't know about gum trees or eucalyptus. I don't know whether you completely remove those. Privet. Box, olive. I don't have experience with doing defoliations though. Certainly they're not things I've read in the UK that you do. But now's an ideal opportunity. If you're watching this about these broadleaf evergreens and doing the full defoliation at the latter stages of winter, is that something you've done? Have you found other species you can do this with successfully over a period of time? I'd be really interested. Let me know in the comments, because I'm sure not only me, but a lot of other people would like to know, because it is a great way, and I mean it, a great way to get smaller leaves by the May-June time but also to get that ramification. And there we go. And to be honest, I've actually gone back a lot further than I thought I was going to. I could have gone back even further, but I like what I've got. And I think the biggest thing that's come is that as you spin it round, I'm sure a few of you will turn around and say, Zav, you sure about that front? And do you know what? I think you might be right. Yeah, I mean, I've got it here, and I think it's pretty clear. And if we just give it a little tweak, probably somewhere nearer there, we're going to look up that way. It also reduces the impact of that swelling. I like that a lot better, and we've got a lot of back growth there. I think, and this does get repotted, no urgent need. That's going to be the new front. Anyway, that's the broadleaf evergreen done. We've got more ones. I've posed that question to you. I really, really encourage you, across the world, let me know your broadleaf evergreens. Do you do a full defoliation? If you do, at what point in the year do you do it? And if it helps, let me know what country you're from so I can see if it's applicable to us in the, the colder northern climates. So I'm going to go and rush back indoors, get these mitts of mine absolutely toasted back up. You've seen I've got this crabapple. Many of you will know that I picked this up from Greenwoods last year because I wanted desperately to have a crabapple. And at the time, I suggested that I may consider whether or not it's worth doing an air layer somewhere up here and take that off as a little marmay crabapple. Now, crabapple air layer really, really well. There was mixed opinions. Some people liked the height that it had, and you know, I'm in two minds because we can create a new apex at this point and then get ourselves a second tree. So I'll tell you what, there's something else for you to let me know in the comments. Seriously, looking at this, would you consider it worth doing an air layer on it, or do you actually like just how tall it is right now? I'm thinking about doing a repot, but it certainly doesn't fit my pile of urgent ones. Anyway, it's far too cold for me to stay out here. If you want to see a great video to follow this, that's the one to watch. Otherwise, happy bonsai and God bless. Cheers.